Well, how y'all doing today? This is going to be an update of my knife and blade collection, essentially. I do have a few exceptions in here that aren't necessarily knives. And, I did previous videos, so if you go down on my video queue, you will find many knives, daggers, bayonets, swords, etc. These are the ones that were either spread out in various places because I cleaned out my garage and cleaned out a storage area, or I did acquire a few more. Sometimes, something's on sale, money burn a hole in your pocket, but not much of that. So anyway, we're going to start over here, and that is Mr. Walmart Fisker's, and it's called a brush axe. And I go through some really rough places in the river bottoms, and that has come in awfully handy. And man, that scabbard slash protector is really great in a backpack. It's a really good way, and it does fit in my large backpack. And then right there, I've got your cheap Walmart UST Survival machete. And as you can see, I did a little modification on the scabbard because they're really crappy scabbards. And I used to have another one that I had actually replaced the paracord handle. So it's not hard to do. I did it, and I should replace that. It's so dirty and nasty. Easy to do. Easy. Then I got your Schrade cheapo machete. It's made in China. In fact, I believe all of these are made in China. Don't know about the Fiskars. I think it is too. Not sure. And then next to it, you have something that's quote unquote kind of collectible, and it's a U.S. Navy Mark III Mod Zero dive knife, and I paid $50 for it at a military surplus place, and that is real deal because having been in the Army, when you have things that are in arms rooms or issued to people that you intend to get back, you often will take a marker and mark on it the number. So pretty sure that now it hadn't seen much use, so whoever had it didn't really use it a lot, but I'm pretty sure that real deal got used a little bit, probably. Don't know where the Navy stores things like that, but anyway, I'm pretty happy with it. It's a really good condition, just a tiny bit of use, and a really just high quality stainless steel that has been blued. Pretty indestructible knife made by OKC, that would be Ontario Knife Company, and made in USA in upstate New York. And then you've got good old buck sheath knife. Don't even remember the number, and if you think it looks funny, it's because that's the one I use to strip wire and cable. And long story short, I wouldn't say ground down, but man, it has been sharpened so much, it's kind of looking funny. Then I got this other knife that I bought at Bass Pro Shops called a Mora knife. And it's actually made in Sweden, and they make some other ones, and they're not bad price. I think I paid a little over $20 for it. It's basically a fishing knife. It's kind of thin enough to do filleting. So it's a light bush knife. I really like it. Got a Mr. Buck sheath knife there. This is made in USA. I typically will not buy a knife that's made in China. There's a few exceptions, but I got a thing. Either made in USA or maybe made in Europe. There are some exceptions here, and I'll show them to you. Mr. Case right there was on sale at Walmart. And if I remember right, it was like really good. It was like, I want to say $15. And even the guy behind the counter at Walmart was like, wow, that's marked 50% off. I was like, yeah, and I bought it. So, and I think he got one too. He had his nephew come later and buy one. He's like, that's great. And then I got that buck. Actually, it's that knife right there, that Buck Bantam. And I bought both of those for $12.99 each. They were on sale at Dick's Sporting Goods. It's like 40% off. And I was like, you know what? I drop enough of those in the water. I'll get one in the box. If it ends up getting gifted to someone, great. Otherwise, I got one. So I got two. So anyway, I thought that was a good thing to do. Then, although these are not knives, I've got that shovel, which is Nito Torpedo. It folds up into an itty bitty It's got a case with it too, and it's great for in your backpack. So is that awesome axe. And then I've got this folding saw that, man, I don't even know if I can do it with one hand, but it folds just like that. And I just thought that was neato torpedo. So I love that. I think that's great. So then I've got next to it, I believe that is a rat tube. It's made by OKC, that's Ontario Knife Company. After I bought it, I realized it's not made in USA. It's not made in China, per se. It's actually made in Taiwan. And believe it or not, Taiwan tends to be known for a lot more high-end manufacturing these days. Back in the day when I was a kid, Taiwan was known as, you know, the junk you get from China. Now Taiwan does more high-end electronics and more precision machinery, and apparently OKC wanted to have a brand of knives or a line of knives that were still high quality, but a little bit less price. But maybe they were too proud to do it in China. So, and Taiwan, you know, so I said, okay. And it is precision. It is OKC quality. There's no doubt about it. Then you got your cheap China Gerber, your cheap Snap-on piece of garbage. So you think Snap-on tools, extremely high quality. This is the Walmart where they slap Snap-on into a China piece of garbage. And man, it is garbage. There's your Gerber. I believe that one is made in China, but one of the nicest and best utility knives. Excuse me. And then I got your garage sale version utility knife. I think I paid 50 cents for. And then over here I got your Walmart, Wally World, their version of a folding pliers, and then cheapo utility knife. And these are blades that just lay all over the place, so I put them in there anyway. That other knife right next to it, this one right here, is actually from a place called Harbor Freight. And it's made in China, but it was cheap. But Harbor Freight is known for fairly okay to middle quality, but super cheap industrial grade equipment. And so I bought that knife really cheap, and it's held up pretty well for what I paid for it. I paid $6-7 for it. And then right there is your Sheffield piece of garbage, made in China. The name Sheffield, we're not talking about Sheffield, England, awesome quality. We're talking about you slap a name on a Chinese piece of garbage, pretty much. And then right next to it is a blade I made from a file. And this one actually was a Chinese file I bought brand new. And I've made it into a blade. I actually tempered it. It's very hard steel, and I put it in the oven for a couple hours at, I think, 400 degrees, quenched it, and then did it again. And then I was able to grind it into a pretty nice blade, and I'm going to make a handle out of it, out of antler, because I go look for antlers in the woods. So got plenty. I've already made a few. I'll make that into a pretty nice knife. And next to it is the most awesome steak knife you have ever used. And usually I am not down for hoity-toity, okay? I am not down for, pay too much for something, and I didn't for that. I actually paid for it was a set of 6 and was missing one. So for 5 of those at a garage sale, I paid $5. That's big money for me at a garage sale. But it turns out it's made in France. And it is the best steak knife. It's, I'm going to mispronounce it, but it's L'Aiguille. And it's Jean de Bost. And if you buy this set, a set of 4 at Amazon is $100. I bought 5 of them for $5. And that thing, I've cut myself with that several times. It's serrated. It is the best steak knife you have ever used. It really is high quality. So it is an awesome, awesome steak knife. I'm pleased with it. And I abuse stuff that I use, and that has held up to me. And next to it, I have, if you look at it, it's missing the handle because the handle just fell apart in my hands, as did most of the scabbard. That is an Air Force survival knife from 1967, and it's Camillus is the manufacturer. And I don't know if you can see it. You probably won't be able to, but that is actually made by Camillus. And, ooh, that's why you can't see it. I had it upside down. I took a little bit of epoxy paint. We'll see if it can focus or not. I don't know. But I took a little epoxy paint. And then it's Camillus 1967, either way. And it's right there. And then next to it is the OKC, that would be Ontario Knife Company version, that you can still buy for about $60. And they have had previous contracts to the Air Force for that particular knife. So they make the exact same knife. And man, it's very, very close in the specs. Slightly different, it really is, but close enough. All right, so we used to say good enough for government work, but there are modifications. It's got a larger fuller right here, and you have a little deeper right there on the false edge. So what I'm going to do is I've cleaned it up fairly good, and I'm going to make a new handle out of antler and put it on there, and then I'll make a scabbard for it. And of course, I have a really good example right there because there's the scabbard. I also have the old one. It's black, believe it or not. It's so dilapidated. But I will make another scabbard for it. I haven't decided if I'll make it like that or just make one of my own style. Don't know yet. But blade's decent enough shape. Be able to do it. Be a good knife. Then you got your, okay, Camillus, and I probably mispronouncing it good. It's a company that shut down in the 80s. But they made knives for a long time. They made a lot of knives for the military. And very much in World War II and the Vietnam era. And long story short, they shut down and then they got their trademark bought. And now a company manufactures them out of China. And they're pieces of crap. In fact, that knife that I bought, the material was so soft that if you just put your finger into it, it would leave the indentation. It just was too soft. It was poor design. And so I took truck bed liner and coated it with both a primer and truck bed liner, and now it's great material. And now it's got good grip. And long story short, I did a little modification, made it work, but quality now, no. Absolutely not. Then I got my buck scabbard knife right here. So there's a total of 31. Oh, 30, my bad. And 30. And, this is just the update. If you're thinking, what? That's a decent knife collection, but that ain't, this is nothing. I have over 100 knives. Easily. And it ranges everywhere from the early 1700s for some of my swords, and I have fighting knives, I have bayonets. You just go on my YouTube and you're like, you're just going to get some clicks. They're not bad videos, and it's a pretty good collection. So I think you'll enjoy it. Knives, daggers, bayonets, swords. I don't do replicas normally. Well, that's a replica right there. It is. And but it isn't. It's actually made by a company that has made those, and that is made to military specs. So, I went ahead and got one. And I'm going to use it pretty much when I do my little renovation job on that. So there's my excuse. I'm sticking to it. But it's a pretty good excuse, actually. And a functional knife. Use it if I need to use it. I do a lot of field stuff in my YouTube channel. So it might be a little tough. To me, it ain't the real deal unless it's got a little dirt on it. So that's what they're for. That's why I like high quality. I like things that last and well made. So you'll get me stuck on the stuff that looks good, well made, and it'll last. So anyway, there's my updated collection. I hope y'all enjoyed that. And I'll be talking to y'all later. Y'all have a fine evening. Bye now.